The point I want to bring out is how financialization has become an issue with social movements in the US over the last 10, 15 years. It wasn't always the issue. You fought for a house, right? You wanted a place to live, and that's where our struggles had always existed. But it has shifted over the last few years as we've gotten a better understanding of what we're up against. The financialization of housing and commodification of land wasn't discussed until the crisis of 2008. That's when it got a little serious. It took a little bit of a shift. Blackstone became a target after the financial crisis because our government took 250,000 foreclosed homes, put out a request for proposals, a fake request for proposals, and basically gave the first bid and the only bid to Blackstone of those 250,000 foreclosed homes. COVID-19 has only exacerbated issues that have always existed in the US. They've existed here for years. Housing has been unaffordable. Our government has disinvested in public housing, a lack of political will among elected officials. And with that, I'm going to drill down specifically. We have a mortgage tax deduction in the US where we actually give credit to wealthy homeowners to the degree that we're subsidizing wealthy homeowners more than we are poor people who need housing.
We started to have the entrance of institutional investors, very much buying cheap and developing luxury housing, and also the touristification process that is huge today in Lisbon. So there is an enormous transformation of the city after the crisis of 2007-2008, with a new landscape for investment, foreign investment very much. So we struggle against evictions in general, but also for rent controls and for the requisition of empty houses, or for a drastic reduction of touristical apartments. Also in Lisbon, that is a small city, we have 25,000 touristical apartments in this small city. And the right to the place too, and for the development of public housing. So we struggle in different fields. And about rent control, I would like to say that is very difficult because even in some, is almost a taboo. Is like we cannot talk about that. We are looked at as if we were completely crazy and radical or whatever. Even in some fields of the left, we feel very much this. Well, we have been trying to explain what is this the financialization through the promotion of home ownership. It was very much the politics in Portugal before of the crisis. Also through appropriation of land, the entrance of foreign investors and funds, and through touristification. And today, I also think that there is this tendency that they are using, there is a tendency of using the concept of affordable housing. So our politicians and everybody in society don't speak anymore about social housing or public housing. What they say is that they want affordable housing. And the new programs of affordable housing are a new entrance of financial players. And is also a way to destroy this concept of public and social.
Guernica is a small town in the south of Buenos Aires metropolitan area and has been the scene of one of the most notorious urban conflicts in Argentina in recent years. Around 2,000 impoverished working class families, more than 6,000 people, occupied 100 hectares abandoned urban land, which was claimed by a gate community developer. These impoverished families were pushed by a deep socioeconomic and housing crisis. These more than 2,000 families and the social movements that have been part of this reappropriation develop a kind of territorial organization based on self-management and assembly systems divided into commissions. Real estate agents linked to speculative land management and gate communities created a legal and symbolic war against these families, which were systematically harassed and criminalized by police and mass media. And after more or less 3 months of struggle and resistance, the judicial power ruled to carry out a huge eviction with 4,200 cops. We have like a kind of unprecedented scenario of a struggle between these capitals, these new investments, and these new, very impoverished working class families over the same lands.
We are mapping cases, and right now until the beginning of February, we had this huge number of family being evicted, and this is the distribution between the states. São Paulo is one of the states that we have a lot more cases, and also we have this huge number of people and families actually who are threatened by evictions. Some actions is putting pressure on government, requests by documents, actors involved to suspend evictions, articulate legal defensing, especially because we have a lot of cases that doesn't have any legal defense.
Inequality across South African's towns and cities has its historical origin in the colonial and apartheid eras, but really what we're facing now is how that's been compounded by the contemporary land and housing crises. And so what we have done over the past 4 years is to actively build a movement called Reclaim the City, which was founded on a campaign that was to stop the sale of a critical piece of land in one of the most affluent areas in Sea Point, a piece of land which had been earmarked for affordable housing through the social housing mechanism, and really galvanized a new imagination of what was possible in the city that had really been informed and actually shaped by this race-based spatial inequality. And I think that this moment also presents various opportunities for ourselves, and maybe even some of you in this room, I mentioned in our little breakaway a moment ago, of the need to think global but act local.
The financialization of property in Manchester, particularly post-crash, there's been a massive growth of international finance in the city core, and that really sparked a lot of discussion and campaigning within the city and political pressure on the city council around questions of their kind of planning policy. We're building a network of neighborhood level branches across the city. So rather than it being this kind of citywide platform, we want to build quite hyper localized branches in different aspects of areas of the city. We've had significant growth over the last year, and that's kind of mirrored by significant membership growth across all tenants unions in the UK. At the heart of it is a kind of solidarity between renters, and really putting at the forefront of the work we're doing, like that concept of solidarity and building working class organisation that's independent from political parties. And I think, you know, that creates kind of great promise for the future.